By theory, it states that when you have the merge of events, when we are adopting backward path method, we only put the time which is the lowest. So from this data we have 15 minus 8 7. From here we have 10 minus 4 6. So we write here 7. This is 16 minus 4 would be 12. Here we have 7, so we select the lowest time, which is 7. Going back here, again we have the merge of events. 10 minus 1 would be 9 and 7 minus 6 would be 1, so we select the lowest time and write down 1 here. Now as you can see, 9 minus 4 would be 5, 1 minus 1 would be 0, so we select 0, the lowest time. So this is how we calculate the 4 times earliest start time, latest start time, earliest finish time and latest finish time. For activity F, let us try to understand what all these times mean. It means that for activity F, which takes 5 days for its completion, the earliest start time is 5 days. The latest start time is 10 days, which means that 5 can only start after 5 days and the latest that it can start is 10 days. Also, this is the earliest finish time and this is the latest finish time. The earliest that activity F can finish is by 10 days and the latest that F can finish is by 15 days. Similarly, we have here for activity I, the earliest start time for activity I would be 11 days and the earliest finish time for activity I would be 17 days. The latest start time of activity I would be 16 days and the latest finish time of activity I would be 17 days. So this is how we calculate the different times for all the activities when we are given the logical sequence of all activities with the duration of all the activities. I hope it is very clear to understand how to calculate the different times after we have a network diagram. Friends, this is the resultant diagram. As you can see, find earliest start time, latest start time, earliest finish time and latest finish times of each activity. The network is same as what we have constructed here. Moving on, put it in the form of a table. As you can see, it's the same data of the same example. The activities A from L and the duration that each activity takes, the earliest start and finish times of each activity and the latest start and finish times for each activity. For example, we pick up any activity to understand it and with the help of the network, we see that for activity F, which lies on arrow 4 to 9, the earliest start time is 5 and the earliest finish time is 10. We have latest start time is 10 days and the latest finish time is 15 days, which is exactly what we have done in our network diagram. Similarly, we can calculate the different times for any example or for any network involving certain activities. Moving on, let us now to understand the critical path analysis. The critical path is the path which involves all the critical activities. It gives us the idea about the time that the project would require for its completion. What is a critical path or a critical path analysis? The objective of critical path analysis is to estimate the total project duration and to assign starting and finishing times to all activities involved in the project. This helps to check the actual progress against the scheduled duration of the project. Also, the following factors should be known in order to prepare the project scheduling. 1. The total completion time of the project, which we can know with the help of the critical path analysis. The earliest and latest start time of each activity, which we have just learned. The critical activities and critical path, which we'll learn with the help of this analysis. And the float for each activity, which we'll learn after the critical path analysis. Let us first understand what is a critical path. Certain activities in a network diagram of a project are called critical activities. Why? Because delay in their execution will cause further delay in the project completion time. It means that any other activity which is not critical activity gets delayed, then it might not affect the total project completion time. But if there is any delay in the duration of the critical activities, then the project completion time would get further delayed. And so these activities are called critical activities. The critical path is the sequence of critical activities that form a continuous path between the start of a project and its completion. It means that we start from the start node and we have different paths to reach towards the end node. We have several paths to reach to the end of the network starting from the start of the network. But the path which takes the maximum time is called the critical path. This is critical in the sense that if any activity in this sequence is delayed, the completion of the entire project will be delayed. As you can see, my friends, the first example that we have done in the last session, this is the network diagram of the first example that we did in our first session. We have developed a network involving certain activities starting from A till I. The figures seen in the brackets are the times that each activity will take for its completion. Now, to start with, we can have multiple paths to reach towards the end node, which is 8. We have path 1, 2, 4, 7, 8. We have path 1, 2, 5, 7, 8. And we have path 1, 3, 6, 7 and 8. So we have different times that all these paths will take for the completion of the project. But the path which takes maximum time for its completion to reach to the end of the project or the network is called the critical path. To understand it better, this is the example that we have solved today. This example. We see there are certain activities, we have different paths that can lead us to the end node of this network. If we go by this path, we can say that 4 plus 1 plus 5, which is 10, plus 7, so we have 17. So we can reach from the start of the network till the end of the network in 17 days, which is one of the path. We have another path as well. We have many paths, but the path which takes maximum time for its completion is called critical path. The critical path is shown by a thick line or double lines in the network diagram. So we shall make double lines or a thick line in this network diagram after we know that this particular path is the critical path. The length of the critical path is the sum of the individual times of all the critical activities lying on it and defines the longest time to complete the project. The critical path on a network diagram can be identified as, for all activities lying on the critical path, the E values and L values for tail and head events are equal. Let us repeat. For all activities lying on the critical path, the E values and the L values for tail and head events are equal, which means that EI is equal to LI and EJ is equal to LJ. Also, EI minus EJ minus EI is equal to LJ minus LI is equal to the duration that particular activity takes for its completion. Finding the critical path is important for directing decision makers' attention because delay in any of these activity will increase the project completion time. So, for this example, let us try to identify the critical path. We can identify with the help of adding up all the individual times of falling on all different paths, but the simplest way to identify the critical path is as stated in the theory, where the E times are equal to the L times, which means, for example, here the E time is equal to the L time. Here we do not have E time is equal to the L time, so this is not a critical path. So this is the critical path we highlight by a double line or a thick line. Moving back, we see that this also falls on the critical path because the E and L times are equal. This will not have a critical path. Going back, we see that this also will have because the E and L times are equal, and similarly here and similarly here. So finally we have the critical path for this network, which is 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10. This is the critical path for this network diagram, and the duration that this critical path takes is 22 days, which means that the project will take 22 days for its completion, which is nothing but the project completion time. So I hope it's clear now how to calculate the critical path and how to identify the critical path. Moving on, we have floats here. Float, or in other words, we have slack. What is a float? The float or the slack is the length of time in which a non-critical activity and or event can be delayed or extended without delaying the project completion time. For example, my friends, have a look here. We see that 15 plus, we see here that this event I would be completed in 12 days before K can start, and K can only start after J and I both have been completed. Because this event J takes 2 days for its completion, so we have that K's earliest start time is 17 days. So we finish the activity I in 12 days, but we can only move forward when we reach 17 days because that is when activity J gets completed. So we have a buffer time of 17 minus 12, which is 5 days. So 17 minus 12 is equal to 5 is called the slack or the float for this particular event, which means that this is the time that by which this activity I can be delayed without affecting the project's completion time. We complete I in here we complete I in 12 days, but even if I takes more days for its completion, say 2, 3 or 4, we can have I be completed before 17 days. So in any case, we do not affect the time, the project completion time. So this 5 is called the float or the slack of this particular event I. So this float can only be associated with non-critical activities and not with critical activities. because only then we get the buffer time in between. It is given by the difference between its latest occurrence time and its earliest occurrence time, as we just discussed. Event float is equal to Li minus Ei. Slack, or the float of an activity, can be stated as the amount of time that an activity can be delayed without delaying the project completion. It is the difference between the latest finish time and the earliest finish time for the activity. Friends, we have different types of float, different types of slack, which are mainly the independent float, the free float, and the total float. Let us have a look at each type of float and try to understand it. The first float, which is the total float, is the length of time by which an activity can be delayed when all preceding activities are completed at the earliest possible time and all successor activities can be delayed until their latest permissible time. This is nothing but the total float. So mathematically it is given by this statement: total float is equal to the latest finish time minus earliest start time minus the activity duration. Next we have free float. The free float of a non-critical activity is defined as the time by which the completion of an activity can be delayed without causing any delay in its immediate succeeding activities. Mathematically, it can be given as the earliest finish time minus earliest start time minus activity duration. We can calculate total float and free float for each non-critical activity. And finally, we have the independent float. It is the amount of time available when preceding activities are completed at the latest permissible times and all the following activities can still be completed at the earliest possible times. Mathematically, it can be said that independent float is equal to earliest finish time minus latest start time minus the activity duration, which can be written down as Ej minus Li minus Tij, which is the activity duration. Friends, this is important to understand what happens to the interpretation when we have the value of total